7 signs you're losing yourself in a relationship. Before you speak, you try to predict how the other person will react. You may have a different opinion, but choose to agree to avoid an argument. You may avoid mentioning something that bothers you because you fear being called dramatic, overly sensitive, or inconsiderate. Over time, you may begin filtering not only your words, but your feelings as well. Silence may seem to keep the peace, but it is a kind of peace that requires you to hide parts of yourself. In a healthy relationship, two people do not need to agree about everything. They can have different opinions, talk openly, and look for solutions without treating every disagreement as a threat. Ask yourself, do I feel safe expressing what I think? Or do I have to rehearse every word to avoid a negative reaction? You know the other person's schedule, preferences, problems, and needs. You are available to listen, help, and understand. But when you are the one who needs support, you feel as though you are being a burden or asking for too much. You may frequently say, "It's not a problem," even when there is a problem. Or you may say, "I'm fine," because you believe there is no room for what you are feeling. Caring for someone is an important part of love. The difficulty begins when caring for the other person requires you to continually stop caring for yourself. A balanced relationship should not become a competition to determine who can have fewer needs. Both people's needs deserve space. Try to remember what your life was like before this relationship. What activities made you feel good? Who did you spend time talking to? What were your interests, goals, and dreams? Sometimes these parts of life disappear slowly. You stop seeing friends, give up an activity, or walk away from a personal goal. There may not have been a direct prohibition. You may simply have started avoiding these things to prevent jealousy, complaints, or conflict. A romantic relationship may have an important place in your life, but it should not occupy every part of it. Maintaining friendships, interests, and personal goals does not mean you love someone less. It means recognizing that your identity is made up of many different relationships, experiences, and choices. Ask yourself, what used to be part of who I was, but has gradually disappeared since this relationship began? Saying no feels selfish. Asking for space feels like rejection. Expressing discomfort feels like creating a problem. Because of this, you may accept situations you do not truly want to accept. Later, you may feel sadness, frustration, or resentment, not only toward the other person, but also toward yourself. Boundaries are not punishments, threats, or attempts to control another person. A healthy boundary communicates what you accept, what you do not accept, and what you need to protect your well-being. For example, saying, "I need some time to organize my thoughts before we continue this conversation," is different from ignoring someone as a form of punishment. Also, pay attention to what happens when you establish a boundary. Is there respect and open communication? Or are you met with pressure, guilt, mockery, or threats of emotional distance? The way someone responds to your boundaries can reveal a great deal about the quality of the relationship. An unanswered message, a change in their tone of voice, or less affection than usual may be enough to make you question your worth. You may begin asking yourself, what did I do wrong? Am I not good enough? What do I need to change to make this person care about me again? When your emotional security depends entirely on someone else's approval, you may begin constantly adjusting your behavior in an attempt to regain their validation. It is natural to want affection, recognition, and closeness. The problem arises when the temporary absence of these things destroys the way you see yourself. Your worth should not increase when someone approves of you or disappear when someone becomes distant. Ask yourself, can I still recognize my qualities when I do not receive this person's approval? During disagreements, you apologize quickly, even when you do not fully understand what you have done wrong. You take responsibility for the other person's mood, frustrations, and even choices that are beyond your control. You may believe that if you find the perfect words, behave in exactly the right way, or avoid every possible mistake, you will be able to prevent all conflict. But a relationship is built by two people. Each person must take responsibility for their own actions, choices, and way of communicating. Acknowledging your mistakes is a sign of maturity. Taking full responsibility for the entire relationship is an emotional burden. When only one person is constantly trying to understand, change, repair, and preserve the relationship, it is no longer a shared effort. This may be the deepest sign of all. You realize that you have become more insecure, more silent, or more distant from the values you once held. You are no longer sure what you enjoy, what you want, or what your life would look like outside the relationship. When someone asks, "What do you want?" your first reaction is to think about what the other person would prefer. This can happen because, for a long time, you have felt the need to adjust yourself to protect the relationship. After making so many adjustments, it may become difficult to separate your own desires from the other person's expectations. Try asking yourself this question. If I did not have to please someone, avoid conflict, or prove my love, what would I do differently? the answer may not come immediately. Reconnecting with your identity is also a process. In a healthy adjustment, both people make compromises. There is freedom to disagree. Both people's needs can be discussed, and changes are chosen together. When someone is losing themselves, almost all the compromises come from one side. Disagreement creates fear. Needs remain hidden, and changes are made because of guilt, pressure, or fear of abandonment. Again, do not judge the entire relationship based on one isolated situation. Look at the overall pattern. Do you feel heard? Are your choices respected? Is there room for you to continue being yourself? You do not need to make every decision at once. Begin by acknowledging what you feel without judging your emotions. Return to an activity you once enjoyed. Reconnect with people you trust. Express a preference in a simple situation. Write down the moments when you feel unable to act naturally or speak honestly. It may also be helpful to talk to a mental health professional. Appropriate support can help you understand these patterns, strengthen your boundaries, and make decisions with greater clarity. If the relationship involves control, threats, humiliation, or any form of abuse, seek help from a trusted adult and appropriate support services. Your safety should always come first. Loving someone should not require you to disappear in order for the relationship to survive. A healthy relationship may require communication, flexibility, and commitment. But it must also provide enough space for each person to preserve their voice, relationships, personal goals, and identity. Perhaps the most important question is not only, does this person love me? But also, can I continue being myself when I am with them? Which of these signs do you think is the most difficult to recognize? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if this video helped you, subscribe to the channel for more content about relationships, self-esteem, and emotional well-being.